Oh, hello and welcome again to River Valley Farm. We are back again to the 484. So a couple of days ago, I came up here and drained the fuel tank, completely drained the fuel tank, and found stuff like this. Which, you know, this over here is just, I assume, dirt, algae, grass, miscellaneous other stuff. This is a piece of lining out of the tank. There is a liner in the tank. This is a well, obviously that's a cap for a gas can, more or less. Somebody put fuel in it and lost their little plug in for their gas can. More what appears to be lining for the tank. Leaves, more algae looking stuff and miscellaneous other stuff, more leaves, sticks, just general things that shouldn't be in a fuel tank, right? So anyway, I don't know, I'm very willing to bet I won't be able to show you guys what it looks like down inside of this thing, but we're gonna try it anyway. To say the very least, it is nasty. Get the light in the right spot. You might be able to see down in here. I don't know. So we're gonna try it. Hey, you can see down in there. All right, cool. So more or less this tractor sat without being full of fuel for a very, very long time, and someone subsequently had troubles with it, so they put sealant in the tank, which is collected in the bottom of the tank and won't move. And this is the return side of the tank here. This isn't even the pickup. Okay, which is good because this side's not nearly as bad, really. Or I think, anyway. Let me try and get this light around here again. Hopefully. So this side over here is somewhat clean and reasonable looking anyway. It's not great, but it's better than the other side, I think you could say. It looks somewhat like metal down in there anyway. So pretty much the only thing we got left that we can do, or well, there's lots of things we could do. We could go and buy a fuel tank to the tune of $850. If my local radiator shop, Cincinnati Radiator, would get back with me, we could find out what it would cost to take this tank off, take it up there and have them open it up, clean it out, reline it, close it back up, put it back on, and it'd be fine. Another option would be to take it off this tractor, strap it to, you know, fill it full of nuts and bolts and washers and whatever else that I can get a hold of, pea gravel, something, put it in, strap it to the wheel of another tractor, because, you know, this is 35 inches this way and 21 and a half roughly this way. So it would be very, very difficult, to say the least, to like strap it to something and then just drive around with it. But we'd have to strap it to a tractor wheel and drive around with it and try and clean, at least to get the crud out of it that way. They make a product called Red Coat that is a tank liner, basically, and it's wonderful stuff, but I don't think you'd ever get it just go, you know, to cover from here to over there, and, you know, then coat the whole friggin' tank with this thing just by how it's shaped. you'd have to use 3 or 4 cans of the stuff, and it's hard to come by and rather expensive when you do find it anymore. So yeah. So anyway, what we're going to attempt anyway is put it back together and run it right now and see what happens. We've got the crud, worst of the crud out of it anyway, which will make life somewhat easier. So I mean, that's kind of my options right now, is put it back together and see what it does. We have, you know, we're still completely without sheet metal up there, so that's going to make accessibility easier if there is something wrong with it. And anyway, as I keep saying, this thing has been nothing but a pain in the butt. If I can get it, or well, let's put it this way: if coronavirus quarantine never ends, I'm going to put it on an auction and get rid of it. Okay. We have a very popular local consignment auction that happens 5-6 times a year. It's probably going to go down there and go away and let it become someone else's problem. Kind of sucks to say that, but, and then again, once I don't have it anymore, it may become a great little machine for somebody, who knows. But for now, I'm going to put the fuel tank back together, such as it is. That goes there. Oh, I got to take that back off, put fuel in it anyway. But we've got the crossover line, we've got the valve for the crossover line out, the crossover line's out, the other valve for the crossover line is out. The excuse me, the valve for the main line for the supply line to the fuel filter is out. So I got to put all that back together, put fuel in it, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, unless it's just absolutely pristine and perfect after this, which I highly doubt it will be, but it's worth a shot. So we're going to try this, see what happens. But yeah, unless it's absolutely pristine and perfect, I predict it's going away and I'm going to have something else here. I'm already going to have something else here anyway next little while. If it will warm up some and the creek will go down, I'm going to go get a sprayer. And this is a family piece that was, you know, it was a sprayer to begin with its life, but it was bought out of a junkyard and brought back to life. So we'll do a good in-depth video on that one when I get it over here. So I guess I should quit yakking and get busy on this tractor, right? All right, let me do that. All right, so fuel system's back together. That's bolted in. Both valves are back on it. Crossover lines on it. Valves are open. Supply line is hooked back up. And I opened this bleeder right here because I want to see what it does. I've got roughly 15 gallons of fuel to put in it. There's 5. There's about 5 more in that bucket, and then there's some more in that other fuel can over there. So anyway, I'm gonna put some fuel in it, and hopefully it's gonna go just skyrocketing out of that bleeder, and we're gonna live with it after that because it'll be just fine, right? Hopefully. Okay, so that's the last of my fuel I just put in there, and we don't have quite as much as I thought we did, but anyway. So, as I said earlier, I loosened this bleeder. Okay, so we can take it out. And that's pretty impressive. It's doing its thing anyway, let's say. So that's good. I'll need to tighten that up again. What do I do with that? That's also, yeah, there we go. There it is right there. Okay, so that's tight enough. And then the other side, I have to have a wrench to do it. All right, let me get back to you in a minute. So did I get the right size? Hey, I got the right size on the first try. This might work. It might work. That'd be scary, wouldn't it? If it did work. Of course, then again, it should have already started bleeding, I would think. But hey, maybe there's other problems we don't know about yet. That's gonna be about the size of things, I'm afraid. Aha. Okay, so we got a squirter there as well. Great, we like that. Let's see, that sounded like air there again for a minute, so let's let it bleed. Okay. Well, oh, there's more air. That was actually bubbles that time. Well, let's see here. Close that up. Close that up. Again, if it'll let me, that is. And then let's see. Okay, we're still in neutral. Sounds real similar to what it used to sound like, huh? And it smokes an awful lot. Size wrench for them either, so hang on. Same shit, different day for those of you that didn't know. So yeah, all right. Choke this nasty thing out again. See what's going on here. So okay, we've got fuel running at the pump. So, I mean, that's about as good as a guy can ask for out of it. Yeah. Anyway, let me close that up right quick. I know, as I stated in an earlier video, there is a difference between the return banjo bolt and this one. So that is, or well, yeah, between these two banjo bolts. So that's like the next thing on my list, I guess, is to see about that. Switch them back, and then maybe fuel filters if all the parts stores aren't closed due to the coronavirus, which never mind, they are. So I didn't think that didn't really think that I was going to need more fuel filters, but anyway, such is life. This is really getting old. Anyway, if I have any interesting developments, I'll come back. If I don't, thanks for watching, and if I find a solution for this thing other than dynamite, I'll get back to you. Okay, so because it was at a mid-range RPM, okay, it was missing the steady miss on number 1. Okay, so I'm gonna pop that injector out and I'm gonna take it apart and see what's going on with it. Maybe something, maybe nothing, but when you take the line loose on it with it running, it sprays fuel out, but it's not firing on that cylinder. So either it's stuck open or something, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna take that one apart and see what we get there. Hopefully there'll be something, because I'm really sick of this thing. Okay, so number 1 injector. Get the thing in the light, maybe y'all can see. I can't hold the camera and point all at the same time, but there's an extra little piece of crud right there that ain't supposed to be there. Okay, and this whole assembly wasn't very tight put together, so maybe that'll equate to my miss for the number 1 cylinder. We'll see. Anyway, let me get this thing cleaned up, put back together, and then we'll put it back in and try it again, see what happens, you know. Alright, so we are as clean as I could make it, basically. I hosed everything off. I've used some of that stuff for assembly lube, basically. So now I'm gonna go put it back in the tractor, back in the engine, see what it does. I'm hopeful something good happens, but I'm not holding my breath. So okay, it's back in, it's back together. We're gonna leave that line a little bit loose and let it bleed out. Okay, so we're hooked up. I think that's pretty good. Looks pretty good. I hope the camera lens is cleaner than my glasses. Anyway, so yeah, let me put the air filter back on. I guess we'll see if we can, well, put the air filter back on. I guess we better put the belt back on and put that cover back on, you know, fun stuff like that. And then maybe we can go for a ride. Okay, so before I get too carried away, now that we got the alternator hooked up and the belt's back on it, air filter's back on it, whatever else, let's see, let's make sure it still runs. That's pretty promising, I think. That isn't though. case any of you are wondering what my air filter looks like, I mean, well, I'm sure there's some stuff in it. You can see it is not dirty. And the inner, well, that's got a nut on it. I can't take it out right now. It's not dirty either. So anyway, I guess now we'll try something else. I don't know what. I think I'm gonna call it here though, guys. Thanks for watching. Definitely thanks for watching. If you are watching, leave me a comment, do something. Come on, guys, help me out here. We'll talk to you later. Okay, to start with, I promise this is the last part, okay? Listen to this. Did that sound as good to you as it did to me? Okay, so part of the problem that I've been overlooking for whatever stupid reason was that I haven't owned this thing for very long, and therefore I haven't done much maintenance to it. This is the inner air filter that's in there, if it was in there, that doesn't show in the International Harvester parts book, but as you can see, it might very well be the original one. There's an R right there in the part number. That's about all I can make sense of, but it's an R2. So this would be the second version, and this tractor shouldn't have, if it was the original one, it wouldn't have the second version in it. Okay, the R2 would have been second version of the filter that when that International Harvester came up with for this thing. So yeah, as silly as it seems or whatever else, the inner air filter has been giving me a lot of grief on this tractor, apparently. So yeah, after all this time and all this stuff, hey dumbass, anyway, yeah, I'm done.